So what I'm going to do today is show you guys how to permanently affix a spring bobber to a rod. A lot of people like to have them removable. I do too, but this is my dead stick, and I have a spring bobber on there 100% of the time anyways. So I just want to put it on permanently. The spring bobber that I'm using is one that's made over near Bergland, Michigan. Over on Lake Ogeebic, there's a bait shop owner there that makes spring bobbers, and I really like these ones because they're really wide at the end, so you can run your lure right through it. You don't have to thread the line through it like some of the other spring bobbers you can buy on the market. It's made with the same type of main wire as a lot of spring bobbers, this flat banded steel. So it's it's not the greatest spring bobber. See how when you pull on the end, the whole entire thing bends, whereas if you had a St. Croix bobber, which I actually have one right here, which is made with a spring instead of that banded steel. Here's the spring, and then it's like spinnerbait wire out to the end. It bends all the way down here instead of the whole entire thing. They're just a lot more sensitive. But for a dead stick, for something that's going to be on there permanently, I think this is a little beefier. That's what I'm choosing to use. You can do this with any spring bobber though, that has that type of banded steel to start with. So I'm going to start by taking some zap goo. I like to just put it on the end of the rod here. Not a ton of it, just enough it's going to hold the spring there when I want to wrap it. What I'm going to wrap it with is big fly, fly tying thread. Just going to take a pretty decent length. I probably take about a foot off. Have that laying there so it's ready for me to start wrapping, because this spring doesn't, even though I've got the zap goo on there, it still doesn't really like to stay there all that much. You can see it's already trying to fall off. So this is the hardest part here. You're gonna fumble with it a little bit. But you gotta get a knot started. I just do a bunch of overhand knots to get it anchored. This time I'm just going to do 3. It's probably all that I'll need. Going to clip off this excess. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thread, I'm going to wrap it around it a whole bunch of times, and then I'm going to take this spring, this end of the spring, I'm going to bend it down, and I'm going to wrap all the way back. Actually what I'll probably do is I'll wrap back first, bend the spring down, and then wrap forward, and I'll tie it off at the end, again with a whole bunch of overhand knots. Then will come the epoxy. So I'm going to whip that up real quick, and I'll show you when it's done. So now I've got it connected, finished up all the wraps, and I tied it off. The last thing to do is to epoxy it on permanently. I'm just using 5-minute epoxy. And you got to remember again, you don't want to put a ton of epoxy on here, just enough that it's going to fully coat it. Because if you put too much on, it's going to get really heavy. You want to try and coat the epoxy evenly. Just want to make sure you get everything covered. Like I said, less is more, so okay, so looks like I have everything covered. Now you're going to want to spin the rod. If you have an actual like arrow spinner or rod spinner, that's the most convenient. But you can just spin it in your fingers. You're just trying to make sure that it doesn't pool up on one side while it's drying. Also, at the beginning, I had said that I took about a about a foot of thread off to wrap it. I would actually go more, 18 inches or 2 feet. I had to tie a little section in because I got a little bit too short while I was wrapping it. So I'm just gonna spin this for 4 or 5 minutes. It should be hard enough for me to set it aside and let it dry for 24 hours. And then you'll have a permanently affixed spring bobber.